Hey, what is up, everybody? Chris Martinez here, host of Operation Agency Freedom. And in this episode, we are going to talk about why 9 times out of 10, those temporary gig workers that you find on sites like Fiverr, why those people never work out. So if you're trying to find talent and you're going to those sites like Fiverr, like Upwork, and you're having a really hard time finding great candidates that you can work with consistently or even temporarily, I'm going to explain to you the main reasons why those people never work out. And let it be known that the real battle in 2022 is not necessarily how well you can master the technology. It's how well you can master finding great talent. Talent is the key to success in 2022. It's something that everybody is looking for. There is a shortage of great people to work in your agency. If you can avoid going to sites like Fiverr and Upwork, trust me, you're going to make your lives a whole lot easier. So definitely listen to this episode. And then at the end of the episode, of course, go to our website, dudeagency.io, and you can find all the show notes, any other things that I list in the episode. We'll have it on there. And then, of course, subscribe. Whether you want to subscribe on iTunes or YouTube, however you want to do that, make sure that you can subscribe so that you always are updated with our latest and greatest episodes. So let's head over on to the full episode, and I'll give you the goods. All right, guys, welcome back. So I have a question for you. So how do you feel about hiring? Like having to hire people in your agency? How do you feel about it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I used to hate it. Back when I started my agency 10 years ago, I used to look at hiring kind of like as a necessary evil. And I'm very embarrassed to say that today because now I love hiring. I love that we are able to create new jobs and new opportunities for great people. And very often here, because we do the majority of our hiring in Latin America, specifically in Mexico, we're creating jobs and opportunities for people that they would not have had without us. So that's very, very enjoyable for me. But when I started 10 years ago, I used to look at hiring and be like, oh man, this is a nightmare. 9 times out of 10, the people don't work out, and looking back, the issue was mainly with me in that I didn't know how to identify and manage great people. I didn't know how to lead a team. And I was unaware of the deficiencies that I had at the time that were ultimately leading people to quit or setting them up for failure. Hiring is crucial to being successful in 2022. This is the main issue that I find with agencies is not necessarily that they can't sell or that they can't find customers. It's that they can't find people to fulfill. And I also mentioned before, talent is going to be way more important than the technology that you use in 2022. And who knows, it might continue for years beyond this. So it's really important that you are able to identify the right types of talent that you need. And if you're going to a site like Fiverr or like Upwork, and you're looking for somebody who's kind of like that quote unquote gig worker, you are 100% setting yourself up to fail. The types of people that go to a site like Fiverr or Upwork, they're not really looking for a long-term partnership. Now, on the other hand, you as the agency, you are looking for people that you can rely on, not just this one time, but for months and months, years, right? You're looking for those relationships. It's so unbelievably hard to just train one person, right? Why in the world would you want to just continue to cycle through all these kind of like gig workers who are never going to truly understand what it is that you do, and they're never going to be able to reach their full potential with you? It just doesn't make any sense. So there is a time and a place to use gig workers. But if you are looking to build a successful and healthy business as an agency owner, then 9 times out of 10, these people are not the right fit. Like you have to think long term, like how am I going to build a good business? It's very hard to build a good business on temporary workers, especially the temporary type of workers that we need. They just don't exist. So let me give you some reasons why those gig workers typically don't work out, right? Even if you don't need somebody 40 hours a week and you just need somebody part-time, a gig worker by nature is not looking for any type of commitment. It's like a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am type of relationship that they are essentially looking for. I don't know why that is. Maybe that's just part of their personality. I think more so it's because they just can't keep a long-term job. There's an element of discipline that an employee needs to have. I think all of us would agree that to be a successful employee, you need to have discipline to be able to stay in a job, to be able to complete the work, to be able to hit deadlines, to be able to do everything that you said you were going to do and serve other people. And unfortunately, a lot of people who go to Fiverr and go to Upwork, they are either by nature or they put themselves into a position where they're just not looking for any type of commitment whatsoever. They kind of, maybe they love just chasing new projects and the excitement of that, but that's not really the best kind of team member that you want. You want somebody who can stay the course and actually get shit done consistently. So you really do need to find people who have that discipline. Upwork, not going to be the case. Fiverr, not going to be the case. Now, what's interesting is that those types of people, they can actually make a living from Upwork projects. They can make a living from Fiverr, but it usually doesn't fit very well for us. It's really hard to find full-time success with employees when you have people who by nature or by choice have a part-time work ethic and a part-time commitment to your agency. So that's like a major red flag just from those types of sites. Another big thing that I despise about Upwork, I hate Upwork, by the way. I will be very frank. We have had such little success trying to find great long-term team members on Upwork. I've just lost all faith in that platform whatsoever. Upwork in general really discourages you from doing a proper evaluation of those candidates. And we've had people that looked good on paper, and then we said, hey, we need you to go through our normal hiring process, which includes getting back to us with an email questionnaire, doing a phone interview, doing 3 tests, doing a test project, doing interviews with multiple people on the team. The Upwork people, they're straight up not down with it. And I believe that if you try and do a Zoom call, for example, outside the Upwork platform, because I think that Upwork has their own video conferencing platform to monitor those conversations, but I believe that Upwork actually tells the gig workers, like, do not do that, which is insane. And so we've had people that looked good and then they just refuse to communicate. So if they're refusing to communicate in the interview process, what the hell do you think is going to happen if they actually start working for you? It's going to be 50 times worse. So Upwork is attracting people that don't have discipline, that don't like to communicate, that aren't willing to undergo an actual interview process. And then they expect you to hire that candidate for work. It doesn't make sense. I can't even think of an agency that hired somebody off of Upwork or Fiverr and was just blown away by the quality of the work. It's usually a last minute thing where somebody else on the team goes out or goes missing or you have an issue. And then you have to look to Upwork for a last minute solution. I mean, I get it. That stuff happens. It definitely should not be happening very often. But even if you do end up finding somebody good, recruit them, hire them full time, get them off the Upwork platform and hire them and work with them full time. I mean, that's what you should be aiming for. If you find that diamond in the rough, which is maybe 1 out of 100 people, that's somebody that you should look at bringing on full time. Next issues that I have with sites like Upwork and Fiverr, the communication in general, having to go through their platform, having to follow their rules, kind of the payment schedule that they have. I like having milestone payments, but clearly, if you have somebody that's on a salary and they're getting paid, it just makes a lot more sense. I think the biggest issue, there's 2 big issues. So one is if you're having to hire contractors off of Upwork or Fiverr because you took on a project and you don't actually know how to do it, that's a fundamental problem in your agency. Stop taking on work that you don't know how to do and say, I'll just figure it out later. Most of the time you end up just damaging your reputation and you eat up more resources than you need. And you probably don't even make that much money off those projects. All the deliverables that you do, you should know exactly how to fulfill them, exactly the team members that you're going to use. And you should also have team members already available to do that work that know how to do the work to your standards. That helps you to guarantee success for your clients. They're going to be happier. You're going to get way more referrals. So stop taking on those projects that you're I'll just take this on because it's good money and then I'll figure it out later and I'll find people off Upwork. That just doesn't work, guys. It's bad business. It's bad for the customers. Stop doing that. The other issues with Upwork is just communication in general. Like you cannot talk to them normally during real time because they're overseas. I don't care where you're at, but you have to be working US hours. That's a non-negotiable. All of our clients are in the US and Canada. We only take on clients from the US and Canada because we have the overlap with being able to communicate in real time. So with Upwork, at least in my experience, most of them are overseas and it's very hard to get them on the line. You know, it's usually totally weird hours. Here's another issue with gig workers in general, right? If you decide to do a flat fee for a project, the gig worker is then thinking, all right, they're going to pay me $1,000. It's going to take me 20 hours and then I'll make $50 an hour. Okay, cool. That's if they're doing a flat rate. But let's take the other side. Let's say that they're going to do it for an hourly project. Let's say they're going to do $30 an hour, $20 an hour. Well, then they don't give a shit how long it takes. Like there's actually an incentive for them to take longer because they get paid more. I don't know most people. I don't think a lot of people are doing hourly. Maybe if it's somebody that you have built a relationship with and you kind of trust them. But that hourly model, I don't think it ever really works out well. But also, I mean, in the flat rate model, this is typically what happens. So the gig worker, who's probably pretty bad at guesstimating their hours in general, they say it's going to be 20 hours. Well, that project quickly has delays. And now, you know, what was supposed to take a week turns into 2 or 3 weeks. And what was supposed to take 20 hours is now 25 hours and we're barely 50% of the way through. So the gig worker is thinking, all right, I'm already screwed. I'm coming out of pocket to complete this project. To make up for it, I'm going to have to go pick up other projects. And so your project ends up getting pushed to the bottom of the list. And so now the gig worker is like, oh yeah, I'll have that done tomorrow. Well, tomorrow comes, doesn't get done. I'll have it done in a couple of days, still doesn't get done. It's because they don't see themselves making any money with you. They've already given up on your project. So they're moving on to the other ones that they're going to try and make more money on. And then maybe those ones get delayed too. And then they come back to your project and they're like, all right, well, I'll wrap this up. It's just this cycle. It's like always a mess. And then they'll disappear for days on end. And in the end, everybody loses. So bottom line, stop using those sites for temporary work. They can come in handy, but 9 times out of 10, it never works out. You end up getting burned. The gig worker feels like they're getting burned. And worst of all, your client's unhappy because you can't hit the deadlines or the objectives that you set out when you brought on the contract with the client, like you can't hit them. And it's a fundamental issue with hiring talent on those sites like Fiverr and Upwork. It's just not set up for a good agency relationship. Of course, if you want a solution to this, you can look at the Dude team, the Dude way, which hopefully you've heard about our solution that we use to help agencies scale. And we guarantee that you'll improve your profitability by 30% or more in 12 months or your money back. But yeah, hopefully you got some value out of this. Please stay off Fiverr. Please stay off Upwork. It's just a giant waste of time and you have alternatives. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening. We will see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you could share it with your friends, family, and basically anyone who will find the same value in this episode that you did. And to get the latest from me, then let's definitely connect on social media. You can go to Facebook, facebook.com/Dude Agency, or Instagram @dudeagency.io, or you can check us out on YouTube on our YouTube channel. And then, of course, you can always visit our website at dudeagency.io, where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. You can also register for any live trainings that we have going on how to run a highly profitable agency. And of course, you can see how we help digital agencies with the people, the processes, and the education so that they can take on more projects and scale profitably. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.